Hello and welcome back to the East Lake Pet Talk podcast. I'm veterinarian Dr. Karen Fling, and we're back in the studios here at Squash Blossom Studios for another week of pet information and news. And you can reach us by calling directly at 972-808-6038. And we're also on iTunes now, so you can search us by looking for the East Lake Pet Talk podcast. And also you can log on to podcast at We Love Pets, and as always you can subscribe at the link right here. And at the end of our show last week we were visiting with Dr. McCauley, and he had promised to comment on some of the recent publishings by the Indy Star related to veterinarians and veterinary medicine in general and pharmaceuticals. So we're going to go straight to Dr. McCauley and hear a personal message from him. We'll be back in just a moment.
The recent series of articles written and published by the Indianapolis Star is a poorly researched, intentionally subversive attack on the integrity and dedication of America's veterinarians. In the three-part series, author John Russell walks the reader down a thought path that attempts to lead them to believe three things. 1. Vets are puppets controlled by the companies who manufacture animal medications. 2. Extremely rare but lethal reactions to commonly prescribed animal medications signify that veterinarians do not care about the well-being of their patients. And 3. The laws of the United States regard pets as property, and therefore in cases where lawsuits result from wrongful death claims are ineligible for awards based on pain and suffering from the loss of such pet. This point alludes to the idea that vets view animals only as a product to make money off of. Each of these points are ludicrous in their assumptions, and Mr. Russell fails to cite even one specific case of impropriety or lack of professionalism. His articles simply serve to fan the flames caused by a viewpoint many people mistakenly share, that vets get rich off prescribing useless medications and have no attachment to their patients. While the process of proving these views wrong could fill a book, I'm going to make this very simple for those who hold such views. Vets as a whole are not, by any stretch of the imagination, rich. Recently graduated veterinarians earn an average of somewhere around $68,000 per year. While you may say this places them comfortably in the middle class, realize that these new graduates are servicing student debt loads averaging $150,000 to $250,000 or more. A sizable chunk of every paycheck a recently graduated veterinarian makes goes towards paying off these student debts, instead of the yachts, mansions, and new cars that people like Mr. Russell assume we are lavishing upon ourselves. It's apparent we're not in this field for the money. I believe it's very clear that those of us who pursue this calling derive satisfaction not from a paycheck, but from the joy that comes from healing a sick animal, bonding with a trusting client, and providing jobs to all the support staff that really makes a vet clinic run. If you take away nothing else from this podcast, please consider the idea that the prices we charge and the services we provide are a true reflection of the reality that is veterinary medicine. We're not here to deceive you, and we value the relationship with you and your pet more than anything. Thank you. And now for a little more happier news. Let's go outside with Sandy and her adorable puppies. As you can see, all of Sandy's puppies have grown up happy and healthy. They're 6 weeks of age, which means that they're ready to go to their new homes. Mama's taken very good care of them, and now it's time for someone else to take over. Of course, we can't forget about Miss Sandy. She's done a great job being a mother to all these puppies, but she needs a new home too.
Well, Dr. McCauley, thanks so much for that personal update about the Indy Star commentary. I really appreciate that. I know that it was, really an emotional topic for me as well, too, and I think most veterinarians.
Yeah, it's just something that you need to know the real information behind the story. In this day and age, it's hard to find out, exactly what the real truth is.
Right.
So we want to
Can't believe
that.
Everything you read, can you?
And of course, it's always good to see Sandy.
Yes, it is good to see Sandy, and I can't believe we're already at that 6-week point. My goodness, and the puppies have changed so much since the last time we visited with them, and some of them have their little ears standing up, and
it's gonna be hard to get to see them go.
I know.
homes lined up,
I
I'm
know,
sure.
yes. And once they go to their new homes, that'll allow us to help that next group of dogs or puppies or kittens or whoever comes our way.
That's why we're in this business.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, it's been an interesting business this week. I have a interesting clip to share with everybody. Not too long ago, we saw a patient, a little 8-week-old puppy, if you can believe it, that actually had a Cuterebra larva that we took out from underneath this dog's skin.
Just sounds gross, but it looks even more gross.
It is really gross. So we're going to take a break here and go check in to see the footage on this sweet little puppy, and everything's going to be fine, just so everybody knows. But Cuterebra is what we're talking about, but we'll be back in just a moment with more.
Enjoy this.
All right, well, this is little Bailey, and Bailey was brought in for a little swollen area here, and when we cleaned away the superficial area on the top that was kind of crusted up there, we could see movement of a larva inside this little pore here. And so we were able to, with gentle expression, remove what you see down here. And this is a little larva deposited by a biting fly. So you can see this disgusting parasite, or this larval form of this fly was actually inside underneath the skin. And so now that we've got this thing removed, we're going to clean our wound up, and little Bailey will be no worse for the wear, and we'll have this disgusting thing out of here.
All right, wow, so that thing was living under that dog's skin. That is just gross.
Really gross. and you know, as long as we've been veterinarians, I don't care how long you do this, there's still some things that have that gross out factor.
Give you the heebie-jeebies, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'll say. Well, we definitely don't want any Cuterebras or anything else biting us or our pets, and that makes me think about the Bourbon virus scare that's come up here, and I'm sure that you know about this, but there's quite a buzz amongst the veterinary community that this virus has been identified, and it's the Bourbon virus, named after Bourbon County, Kansas. And so apparently there was this farmer that became acutely ill. He was normal one moment and then hospitalized, very sick, and within 10 days he had passed. Wow. And just no warning at all that he had gotten this virus. And this is the first time this particular virus has been identified in the Western Hemisphere, and it is an orthomyxovirus, which is of a family that people think of occurring in Eastern Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world besides here in the United States. And because it's a virus, not an antibiotic, a virus, not a bacteria, antibiotics won't work for this particular bug. So scary stuff. And you would think we'd know about all the diseases that could possibly be out there, but it seems all the time there are new ones emerging.
And crazy that it showed up in Kansas first, not some port city or an area with a big airport.
Right in the center of the United States. Yeah, exactly.
Poor guy died after 10 days.
After 10 days. And the symptoms, you know, are like so many other infectious diseases, fever, muscle aches, and then in this particular case, there were lung and kidney complications and possibly even some liver issues. So massive organ failure and shutdown. So truly, truly terrifying.
Avoid ticks at all cost.
All cost. And that does bring to mind, you know, what we need to be doing for our pets in terms of prevention. And by keeping our pets tick-free, flea-free, parasite-free in general, we're not only protecting their health, but we're protecting the health of families. And when I heard about this particular case coming up, it made me think about an earlier visit that we had here in the studio with the folks that make a new product called Brevecto, and it's made by the Merck company, and we'll have that link available for you here. But the neat thing about Brevecto is it's an oral medication that can be administered just once every 3 months, and it's super effective against ticks. Great safety margin, and of course effectiveness and safety are the two most important things that we want to consider when we're looking at parasite preventions for pets. And we were talking just earlier about how there is just a sea of choices related to preventative medications. You see things at the grocery store or at the pet store, and it's really hard to know which products are truly the best to keep your pet safe. So as always, your pet's doctor is the best resource to go to for information on what products are best and safest and most effective to keep your your pet and your family okay.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is always have your vet involved in that conversation. You may think you're saving money by just getting the stuff at Walmart, but if it doesn't work, did it do you any good? Did you save any money?
Right. And I tell you what, some of those over-the-counter products, you'd think they're safer because they're over-the-counter, but in particular, some of those things are ultra dangerous for cats. And we've seen cats seizure and even die or nearly die from some of these products that shouldn't be used on them. So anyway, ask your pet's doctor by all means.
That's right. We always like to have you here join us on Pet Talk. We love having you on the show. And actually, Dr. Fling had a chance to be on another show previously this week.
Right. Had the opportunity to visit KTXD TV show, and we're talking a little bit about potty training for dogs.
Oh, yes.
And in our last episode, we also talked about what I call the 4 S's of potty training for dogs. But I don't want to forget about cats, though. Cats also sometimes need a little extra help in that department. And with both dogs and cats, inappropriate elimination behavior is one of the number one reasons, or in fact, I think the number one reason that pets get dumped in area shelters. And so it's an important topic. And like you said earlier, a lot of times people don't want to bring it up.
Yeah, exactly. There's kind of a veil of shame, I guess, which it shouldn't be. This is, you can view it as the behavioral problem is a medical problem as well. That's what we're here for. Don't be afraid to bring up that you're having problems house training that puppy or that kitten, or that your older dog or cat is having issues, because we know ways to kind of work around that.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, cats, I know we typically talk about housebreaking with dogs, but for cats, it can be a real concern. And one of the things I like to kind of have as one of those tips is to think about having 1 litter box per cat plus one. So if you have 1 cat, have 2 litter boxes. If you have 3 cats, have 4 litter boxes, and so on.
Options. Yeah.
And then the texture of the litter is also very important. Some cats like the clay type, some like the scoopable, some like cedar. And so really finding that litter that best suits your cat and does well is the ideal recommendation. Because if you go switching back and forth, cats
that's going to throw them off. I've had owners come in and say it's actually some of their cats are affected by the depth, how much litter they put in the box, because they want to dig to a certain depth, I guess, and they don't like it to be too much or too little. Have to be in that Goldilocks region just right.
Just right. And I've actually had a couple of cats that I've worked with that like to do stool in a litter box with litter in it, but then they don't like to do urine in that litter box. They like a box with nothing in it. So
save the clean one, I guess.
That's right. Emergency. That's right. So all kinds of good things to do with kitty housebreaking as well as puppy or dog housebreaking. And so we'll talk a little bit more about cat housebreaking in the future. But another little bit of interesting news this week has nothing to do with cats, but chikungunya. Have you heard about Lindsey Lohan?
I did. I heard about Miss Lohan contracting chikungunya virus while on vacation.
Right, exactly. And chikungunya is a virus typically transmitted by mosquitoes. And in fact, we talked about it in an earlier podcast or earlier video session here at the studio at Squash Blossom Studios. So we'll make that link available for you here. But chikungunya is a problem that until recently had not been in the continental United States.
That's right.
And while her case came from French Polynesia. It didn't come from the United States. It's here, it's there. International travel is so common. This is something that can be vectored almost anywhere. And the condition tends to hit the young and those over 65 most hardly. And with those in the over 65 category, as many as a third of those patients can actually die from it. So not something to be taken lightly.
No, definitely not. Serious issues. You know, you think all the time, well, you know, it's a foreign disease. It's never going to reach me with a name like chikungunya. You imagine it elsewhere, but like we say, this is here. This disease, as well as the Bourbon virus, international diseases come to the United States all the time, and it's important to keep up to date on those, especially these ones that are vectored through parasites that a lot of times will bite our pets as well, dogs and cats. Your veterinarian needs to be a part of that discussion as far as preventing tick and mosquito bites to you and your pet.
Right. Heavy duty stuff. But according to the media, I understand that the actress is posting positive comments on her social media sites and trying to keep a positive attitude and face this condition with the greatest level of...
The new face of Chikungunya.
That's
Lindsey
right.
Lohan. Yeah.
That's right. So in other news, we do have a new pet of the week this week, and we're going to be clipping away to show you some pictures of this lovely mother dog. Eleanor Rose is her name, and she has 9 puppies.
They're cute too.
Oh, they are very cute. And this group was actually found out in the Houston area, and Eleanor Rose was obviously a new mother. You could tell by her drawn build and rather developed undercarriage, and just skin and bones initially when she was found, and heartworm positive, unfortunately, which is so common in stray dogs. But we're happy to report at this point that Mom, Eleanor Rose that is plumped up nicely. She's gaining some weight, even though we still have not been able to treat her for the heartworm just yet. And the puppies are now at the 6-week point, 6 weeks of age, and they are ready just adorable. Yeah, ready for new homes. So it'll be great to see them going to their new families. Aren't they adorable?
Oh, I could just grab every one of those puppies, just rub my face on them.
Cute. Yes, so adorable. Okay, well, that was fun to see Eleanor Rose and all of her 9 puppies. They're just too much fun.
Yes, they are. We appreciate you joining us again this week here at Pet Talk Podcast. I would like to remind everyone to contact us in the myriad ways we have. Of course, you can always call us at 972-808-6038 and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to address any questions you have. You can drop us an email at podcast@welovepets.net. Don't forget to subscribe to the show by clicking on the link above, or we are on iTunes now, so go find us in the description below, or go search for us on iTunes at East Lake Pet Talk Podcast.
And as always, if people want more information about adopting beautiful dogs like Eleanor Rose or her puppies, they can log on to elpo.org. That's eastlakepet.orphanage.org, ELPO.org. So it's been a fun week, and we look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.